morning, everybody. It's hump day, as you know already. I saw James Colley put that in the chat, and I'm like, oh, I got to get out a hump day because it is Wednesday. So we had this. I'm not being plugged in here. That's weird. Let's try that. There we go. Now I can hear myself. Good. So we had this town hall last night, and I was going to spend a lot of time on it, fact checking and all this other stuff. And but I didn't get to watch it. I only got to watch snippets of it this morning after I got home. And there's a couple things that stand out that kind of surprised me. And so we'll go over those, but then we're just going to get into some news because I don't want to spend a whole lot of time talking about Joe Biden because the guy, it was weird. He was, he was answering the questions that I saw that he answered during the town hall. He'd kind of answer them, but then he would at least try to be on that subject. Then all of a sudden he'd be talking about something else. Then all of a sudden he'd be talking about something else and something else. And he made a few little goofs that, unless you're, well, let's put it this way. Some who talk about Joe Biden in a certain way would hear a statement that you go, you probably shouldn't have said that. And then if you're a Democrat sycophant or the media, of course, this is redundant, it probably would have just went by without even a second thought. So we'll get into that. We'll check some news stories and then we'll call it a day because that's what we do on the Morning Night Live. But first, of course, I got to play the intro. Johnny, play the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way, but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, P. Dawg Knight. And stop the music. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as P. Dawg Knight on the internet. And it's Hump Day, Wednesday, the 17th of February 2021. 5 days until my anniversary. And I'm going to surprise Lady Boomer with a video on my other channel. Well, I've got other stuff like, I'll do the traditional flowers things. We'll probably do something nice this weekend. But I'm going to make a video and I'm going to put it on my alternative channel, which is Marty's Big Journey, that I've kind of left dormant for 2 years. And I've always said I needed to start making videos to put on that channel because I have tons of footage. And I'm like, well, I'm going to use some footage of me and Lady Boomer enjoying things that we've done over the last couple of years. Although I'm kind of bummed because I had some great footage of us down in Iowa. We were at Winterset, Iowa, where in Madison County, the bridges of Madison County, we went and toured all the bridges there and then went to the John Wayne Museum, and that footage got lost when my computer got stolen in San Francisco, my laptop, when our car got broken into. And then also I had footage of us going to Alexandria, Minnesota, where the Runestone Museum is. I had footage of our wedding anniversary trip, our 25th trip to New Orleans was all on there. Although I do have a lot of photos left from that trip on an alternative drive, but all the video footage is gone, and I'm just bummed about that. But anyway, that's going to be the surprise, and I'm going to have it on our TV when she gets home from work. So that'll be cool. First donation of the day. Good morning, Kyle, and thank you through Streamlabs. Kyle says, "Hello, chat people." And P-Dog. Well, thank you, Kyle. Good morning to you. And you are... Oh, I got to hit this button. Because I didn't hit the button here. Kyle,
You are the new Streamlabs Superstar Donor of the Day.
All right, you're in the lead, sir. Thank you very much, Kyle. I do appreciate that, and I appreciate you dropping a couple bucks in the till every once in a while, because it definitely helps the King Boomer and Lady Boomer household. So if you're able to do that, that's great. If you just want to watch, that's cool too. Make sure you share this stream out. Use the little arrow thing down there. You can also hit me up on what are those channels? I got now. Hey, by the way, Parler's back up. Did you realize that Parler is running again? Now it's a little janky. I think there's a lot of people trying to log into it now that they know that it's back up. So it took me about 3 or 4 tries to log back into it. Plus, I don't know if their servers have the capacity they had before. I don't know what they are doing. But it's back up at least, and so that's open. But I'm also on Gab, Minds, Cloud Hub, Parler, Odyssey, Trovo, Rumble, all of those channels, BitChute, all under Dawg Knight. So if you're looking, if I ever get yeeted from, say, Twitter or YouTube, you can find me on those places. I pretty much, all my videos for the most part automatically load into the Rumble and also not Rumble, excuse me, Odyssey, which is Library Odyssey. And then I try to upload, like, my standalone videos I put on all the platforms. So if you're following my new series called Proverbs for Modern Times, those are pretty much on every platform. Thank you, Javanus Midehouse. Javanus Midehouse? Is there a joke in there? I'm curious. But thank you for. But anyway, Javanus Midehouse. I can't. There's a joke in there somewhere. But thank you for the 556. Who says, "Good morning from Cindy, Rochelle, and me." Oh, I see. It's official. We're part-time RVers now. We now have a command center in the Panhandle of Florida, aka Lower Alabama. Oh, wait a minute. What did I do here? Did I get something missed up? Or is that, oh, that's from Hig. Okay, I got it now. Anyway, well, that's awesome. You're part-time RVers now, which means you closed on your house. Congratulations. That is awesome. Good for you. And I know that was something you guys wanted to do, and that's fantastic. Also, thank you, Old Grouchy Gamer, who just says hi, P-Dog. Well, hi to you too. It's nice to have you back on the channel. I'm glad you're here. All right, let me click those so I don't read them twice. All right, oh, and I'm gonna just give you a bell for Kyle, and here's a bell for Hig and Cindy. Congratulations again, and a bell for Old Grouchy Gamer. And while I'm at it, let's see who's in the chat, because, you know, I always say good morning to the chat too, and it looks like Gunfox61 was here first, and you get the bell for the chat. You get the big old chat bell. There you go. Thank you for being here. Also, good morning to Hig, James PFP, Tyler F, Black Hebrew Israelite.
That's right.
Richo is in the house. Tyler F, Cultus 4. And as I scroll, I see Aaron Meredith. Good morning. Good morning to Uncle Bad Touch.
Come on, man.
Also, good morning to, let's see. Oh, you guys have been chatting a little bit here, haven't you? Good morning, Maddie. Hello. Good morning to, said Uncle Bad Touch. John Smith. Say good morning to Elizabeth Warren for me. I know she's probably there in the background in a bathrobe with a mimosa. Or maybe, no, wait a minute. What am I saying? She probably has a beer ready, right? Anyway, I didn't really need to go there. Good morning, Mike Savage. Good morning, Advocatus Diaboli. Hello, James Colley. Nice to have you here. Good morning, Jonathan Peterson. Attack Alpaca. Austin San. Select a boy.
Yeah, boy.
Good morning to Justin Anderson, nice to see you here again. Donatello Slap-a-Fellow, one of my favorite names on the internet. Also, good morning to Ride Deos, Amy in Connecticut, Katie did skate. Duck Dog, my parents just celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary last Friday. Wow, that's awesome. That's exciting. I remember I fortunately, I got to see my grandparents' 50th anniversary back in the 70s. And then I got to see my parents celebrate their 50th anniversary shortly before before my dad passed away. So that was cool too. So it was kind of weird, and this year is 28 years for Lady Boomer and I. So I'm like, holy crap, 50 years. How did they do that? But I think they got, I know my grandparents on my dad's side got married quite a bit earlier in life than I did, at least 10 years earlier in life. But I'm thinking, so 22 years from now, yeah, that could happen. I'll be in my 70s. No, wait, 60s. Yeah, I'll be in my 70s. Yeah, that could happen. I think we'll make it. I think we're going to make it to 50, God willing. So that's cool. But anyway, congratulations to your parents. And that's very exciting. Also, good morning to Jonas Pedersen, Zablu's in the house, and my old grouchy gamer, Tony A. Thieves suck. Now I'm kind of wondering what that's about. Did I miss something in the chat? Let's see. Also, good morning to... Is that everybody? That's kind of everybody right now. Rod Lyons in the house. Cynical Lindsay's in the house. How you doing? There's a whole bunch of people here. I'm just saying. Sean, hello. I see you. I think I got about everybody. Oh, Resolute Germ. Is that a new name, or is that a different, someone on here using a different channel? Anyway, hello everybody. I'm glad you're here. So, let's get into it because I think my in-laws are celebrating 45 years together this year. Wow, that's a long time too. That's great. The grandparents that I'm talking about that celebrated their 50th in the 70s. They were, before my grandfather passed away, they were married 63 years. That's wild. And stole my laptop. Yeah, for those of you who aren't familiar with the story, when my son graduated college, we asked him, where would he like to take a trip? And he decided that he wanted to drive down the West Coast and then to Vegas. So we started in Portland, drove all the way down the West Coast, stopping in San Francisco, Los Angeles, San Diego, and then up through, into the desert to go to Las Vegas. And then a bunch of his friends met us in Las Vegas after that, or at the end of our trip for 3 days. So, and this was like a 2-week trip. So we took our time, had a lot of fun, saw a lot of sights. But first day in San Francisco, we go out before we could even check into our hotel, because it was too early to check in. Or I think we had an Airbnb in San Francisco. No, we were staying in a hotel downtown San Francisco. And, but we couldn't check in. We were there too early. So we thought, okay, we'll go see some sights before we go do that. So we went before we went to see the sites, we're like, well, we're hungry. Let's go out to lunch. Stopped at lunch at this little restaurant, not too far from the Golden Gate Bridge, and went out and checked. I had to go feed the meter because the meter was only like 30 minutes. So we parked on the street, ordered our lunch, and then I went out to feed the meter. No problem. Went back in, and I was going to move the car into this little privately owned pay lot, right? And I'm like, nah, I'll just leave it here. We'll just go back in. We come back out, and there are people standing around the rental car. And we're like, why are these people standing around a rental car? And we come up there, I was kind of wary because I know San Francisco is it's kind of the smash and grab capital of the world. And lo and behold, the back window of the rental car is broken, and they grabbed a couple bags off the top. But someone who saw them chased them away. But literally, they smashed the red, grabbed the first couple bags they could get, and then as the people were chasing them, they jumped into a car and sped away. So this was the planned thing. And the person who was standing there was like, yeah, we saw this guy kind of looking in the back windows. And the rental car we had Oklahoma plates. And apparently they target people with out-of-state plates. So, but the, they didn't get any of our clothes bags, but the bag that was on top I had taken my entire set of equipment that I had at the time. I had a really nice laptop with the GPU unit in it, and I had microphones and webcams and stuff like that, because I was going to do my show on the road. That was the one bag that they got. They got all my equipment, including my laptop, including all my, I had just gotten another Blue Yeti microphone that was in there. There was, I had a high def webcam and all this stuff, and boom, it's gone. And then we went to the police station and like, oh yeah, this is like the third one we've heard in the last hour. So these guys were just going up and down the street. And so I made a little video about it while we were waiting to call. We were calling the rental car company, and we were like, okay, well, we're gonna have to take this car back, but we had also had to go to a liquor store. So while they were in the liquor store, I was out by the car with the big hole in the window, and some guy walks up to me and goes, did that just happen here? And I'm like, oh, no, this happened back there. We're just about ready to take the rental car back. And he points over at this little restaurant on the corner. He said, yeah, that's my restaurant over there. That happened to me one time when I just stopped by the restaurant to pick up some things and leave. I parked there, walked inside. When I came back out, they had smashed his car window open. It didn't happen that day, but it's very, very common in San Francisco, smash and grabs, because we were talking to the police officer at the station, and they said, yeah, they get 5, 6, 7 of those reports a day. And because even if they catch them, usually the amount of stuff lost is less than, usually less than $1,000. They just grab a few things out of the car. So even if they catch them, they don't prosecute them. They just don't even prosecute anything under like $700 loss. And we're like, well, then what's the point of reporting this? And he kind of looked at me and shrugged his shoulders and said, that's how it works around here. So anyway, that's gone. We got lost a lot of stuff. And so now I have one of these bad boys that I immediately, anytime I do any footage of anything, this thing stays at home. I download footage. If I take it with me somewhere else I go, I keep it in a separate place, so I always have it. So I have it's my little 5 gig portable hard drive, and just what you got to do these days, right? Anyway, now that I've told you my personal stories, and I do have my cup of reparations. If you have some, take a sip. And let's get into the news. If it was up to me, they'd all be shot. Well, or beaten to a pulp at least. I want to catch somebody doing that sometime. Because, and I don't even care if it's my car. I want to catch somebody doing that. And I will, okay, let me phrase this gently. I will restrain them, and whatever, whatever damage happens to them in the process of restraining them, I can't be responsible for. They struggled, and I caught them red-handed. Anyway, good morning, Johnny Hellcat. Good morning, SpamBot22. And did I catch everybody that's just dropped in? All right, cool. I kind of did. All right, let's get into some of the news. So Joe Biden had a town hall last night, and it was really, really hard to watch. In Minecraft, exactly. It was. And Dr. Kiev, how you doing? It was really hard to watch. I watched some of it this morning. I watched about half of it, and Joe, if you're trying to be charitable to Joe Biden, he got through it pretty well. But he still goes off on some of these really, really strange tangents where he'll be answering a question and then all of a sudden he's talking about something completely different and then he's thinking about something completely different again. And it's just, it's I see that with people I know that are, I don't want to be conspiracy theorist, but have I can't even say it. I don't know if I'll get in trouble for it. Dementia patients. Anyway, but by the way, thank you, Pincalo, for the super chat. And I didn't see with a little thumbs up there. I appreciate that so much. In fact, that reminds you to hit the like button if you like what we do. So a couple things though really stood out that happened yesterday. And one of them was this one. This one, the New York Post caught this. When they were asking him a question about China, and his meandering answer was really, really weird. So here's the Post headline: Biden dismisses Uyghur genocide as part of China's different norms. Oh my God, oh, Uncle Bad Touch. Kamala Tohalis. Which was. So President Biden is dismissing the genocide against the Uyghur population in China, dubbing the mass internment a, quote, different norm, end quote, despite the State Department this month responding to atrocities in the camps following reports of systemic rape and torture. The commander-in-chief, God, that is so hard to call him that. I remember when Biden was running in '88 and had to drop out because of his plagiarism issues. And when he's had to drop out, I cannot believe Joe Biden's president. I just can't. Anyway, the commander-in-chief made the remarks after being asked during this CNN town hall Tuesday evening about his recent conversation with his Chinese counterparts, starting his response by relaying Xi's justification for the abuses. Now, and he goes off on this. He says, if you know anything about Chinese history, it has always been the time when China has been victimized by the outer world is when they haven't been unified at home. Now, when he said that, I thought maybe he was trying to make an analogy about what's going on in the United States right now. When he said that unified at home, like, what the hell is he talking about? And then he said, so the central, well, vastly overstated, the central purpose of Xi Jinping is that there must be a unified, tightly controlled China, and he uses his rationale for the things that he does based on that. Really? Is that what it is? So that's why he's clamping down on Hong Kong and Taiwan and the Uyghurs, because he needs a tightly controlled China so it'd be unified? Well, I think, good morning, Kay Shull, by the way. So they'd be unified? Well, I'm sure Mussolini's Italy was unified. I'm sure that funny guy with the funny mustache that has that country in the middle of Europe was unified. I'm sure that, Cuba and Venezuela have been unified, although I think there's some dissension. Oh, wait, they're all dead. You could be unified by killing off Soviet Russia was unified because they killed off everyone who opposed them. Thank you, Gamer Valine, by the way. A great caliber 556, who says, yeah, CNN had to get rid of the Nazi Adolf Cheeto. How else could they install a guy that approves of concentration camps and police beating and killing civilians? I agree, and I think the whole crowd agrees. It's lunacy. Anyway, so The post continues here. China, a nation that has faced a wave of international scrutiny over the past few years relating to its activities in dismantling democracy in Hong Kong and its refusal to accept responsibility for negligence and lack of transparency at the onset of the coronavirus outbreak, has not let global tensions stop its mass internment of Uyghurs in Xinjiang province. And again, quote by Biden, I point out to him no American president can be sustained as a president if he doesn't reflect the values of the United States, the U.S. president continued. And so the idea is that I am not going to speak. Listen, this line threw me. Hello, Jesse Leon and Kyra Alexander. This line was another one. I'm just dumbfounded that he even let these words come out of his mouth. He says, and so the idea that I'm not going to speak out against China, what he's doing in Hong Kong, what he's doing with the Uyghurs in the western mountains of China and Taiwan, trying to end the one China policy by making it forceful, Xi gets it. So what he's saying is he told Xi that he, he's going to point those out. And so, just understand that it's my job to point that out. Oh, but is it your job to do anything about it? See, that was the one thing so Donald Trump's been talking about China probably since the 90s, about how that China is probably going to be one of our biggest problems, that now that Russia, the Soviet Union was broken up and whatnot. And China, it's weird that China has their fingers everywhere. Like when I went to Nigeria, there was a huge Chinese. There are a lot of Chinese people in Nigeria, and I'm thinking, why? In fact, I laugh about the story because the first place when I went to Nigeria for the first time, and I was meeting my sisters and brothers and my father and all that, and we were in Lagos. The first night in Nigeria, my sister takes us out to dinner, and I'm thinking, wow, cool, I'm in Nigeria, I've never been here, I'm going to go eat some really traditional Nigerian food, and the first restaurant we went to was a Chinese restaurant, and I was like, are you serious? I'm in Lagos, Nigeria, and I'm going to the first place I eat is a Chinese restaurant, it was funny, and it was good Chinese food. But there are a lot of Chinese people all over Africa. They are buying up what they can, or they're creating alliances in Africa, and because Africa is still rich in resources, and China needs resources. But anyway, Biden continues. Culturally, there are different norms that each country and their leaders are expected to follow, he continued. Well, great. But when you say that you're going to be able to, you're going to talk about these things, an American president's job is to talk about these things. Well, it's also the American president's job to lead and do something about these things and put pressure on, a genocide. At least that's what it seems to be. Not that we know the Uyghurs are completely innocent. There was some minor, I don't know if minor is the word, but there was some terrorist activity in China. And so they're clamping down on them. But the way they're doing it now is just crazy. Good morning, Dom O'Leary, by the way. Nice to see you here. And Hypnagogic Monk. TC Ball, I see you there. Hello. Anyway, the norms in China, as shown in a recent BBC News expose, include systemic torture and rape occurring in Uyghur concentration camps. Yeah. So, yeah, you should probably be speaking up about that, Joe Biden. But then again, following the release of that report, China banned the BBC in its territory. Asked during the town hall whether there would be repercussions for the CCP over the genocide, Biden sidestepped the question because he's an employee of China, in theory, in Minecraft. I don't want to have too many conspiracy theories.
That's right. Come on, man.
Anyway, he sidestepped the question, saying the U.S. would, quote, reassert our role as spokesman for human rights at the UN and other agencies. Well, that should take care of it. Well, there will be repercussions for China, and she knows that. What I'm doing is making clear that we, in fact, are going to continue to reassert our role as spokesman for human rights at the UN and other agencies, that we have an impact on their attitude. Well, it's just an attitude. Asked if China was not already too powerful to be stopped from its appalling human rights practices, Biden expressed confidence that human rights would win the day. Well, confidence. Kind of like, remember when they were talking about the whole Russia thing, and the there's two agencies that were talking about Russian contacts with the Trump campaign, and that they were talking about collusion, and one of the agency was highly confident, and another agency was moderately confident that these ties actually were in place. Now, when you say confident, let me give you a small example of confident, because we have a recent example. Maybe not in your household, but you'll understand what I'm saying here. When someone says, okay, let's take Valentine's Day. It was just, what was that, 2-3 days ago? Valentine's Day, okay? You're with the love of your life. Here, let me do this real quick. Okay, you're with the love of your life, or so you think. And on Valentine's Day, you exchange really lovely gifts, and you're, kind of snuggling, and everything's good, and you say to your significant other who you are snuggling with, you say, do you think you'll love me forever? And your significant other kind of looks up in the air and thinks for a bit and says, I'm moderately confident that I will. Oh, what? Well, no. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm highly confident that I will. That's what confident means. Anyway, but he did continue and said, but it's much more complicated than that. I shouldn't try to talk China policy in 10 minutes on television here. You're probably right. And he probably should have left out that whole part about the, whatever, that other part. So that was his answer on that. And then the other one, this one, I actually heard, and it actually took me aback too. I'm like, so during this town hall, and this kind of reminds me of something Kamala Harris said the other day too. During the town hall, Joe Biden said, we didn't have a coronavirus vaccine when he took office. What?
You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier.
Yes, you are. President Biden was slammed by conservatives on social media after saying we didn't have a vaccine when he came into office on January 20th. It's one thing to have a vaccine, Biden told CNN's Anderson Cooper during the town hall Tuesday night, which we didn't have when we came into office. But a vaccinator, how do you get the vaccine into someone's arm? And here he is, right here, listen.
And the biggest thing, though, as you remember, when you and I shouldn't say it that way, as you remember, but when you and I talked last, we talked about it's one thing to have the vaccine, which we didn't have when we came into office, but a vaccinator. How do you get the vaccine into someone's arm? And the biggest thing.
First of all, let's take that whole piece. we didn't have a vaccine and we didn't have a vaccinator, how do you get into someone's arm? Let's look something up on DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo. What year was the syringe invented? Da, 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 da. Wait a minute. Year 1650 was the year the syringe was invented. And I'm pretty sure that we have, I'm going to say billions of syringes in the United States alone. We don't have a vaccine. How do you get the vaccine into someone's arm?
Why the fuck you lying?
Wait, what was that?
Why the fuck you lying?
What? Anyway, Biden says there was no vaccine when he came to office. That is abjectly false. President Trump brought about the fastest vaccine for a novel pathogen in history. How does he get away with it? Biden claimed during CNN town hall there was no vaccine when he came to office. First shots were administered in mid-December. This isn't a semantical thing or the president misspeaking. It's a straight-up lie on a very important point. In fact, let's see. Biden claims during the CNN town hall there was no vaccine when he came to office. First shots were administered mid-December. This isn't a semantical thing or the president misspeaking. It's a straight-up lie on an important point. Here's Biden getting the vaccine he claimed didn't exist before he took office. Pretty easy one to fact check. Steve Guest, massive lie. It's a ludicrous lie from Biden. Even Glenn Kessler. Of course, Glenn Kessler, the Washington Post fact checker, Mr. Pinocchio man. Several members of the media defended Biden. One Washington Post editor referring to Biden's comment as a gaffe. Yeah, that'd be his whole shoe stuffed down his throat. Hello, Peter Almond. How you doing, my friend? Gaffe. You mean a carafe of bullshit? It wasn't a gaffe. But Glenn Kessler, it was a verbal stumble, a typical Biden gaffe, as he already mentioned 50 million doses being available when he took office. Ex-Trump officials should especially cool the outrage meter, as it just looks silly. Well, maybe the old, crusty, dementia-laden dumbass shouldn't say stupid shit like that. I mean, come on. What's that phrase he uses? What's the phrase he uses?
Come on, man.
Yeah, that one. Good Lord. Yeah, they first administered him to healthcare workers in mid-December, and Biden received both doses prior to entering the White House. Roughly 1 million vaccines were being distributed per day when Biden took office. And remember, because he made his goal to have 100 million vaccinations in the first 100 days, which would be 1 million per day, which they'd already ramped it up to about 1.4 million per day by the week Joe Biden took office. Anyway. But anyway, silly. That's just some silliness. Now, speaking of fact checkers, I just thought to see, I'm sure there'll be more of them out, but I wanted to check the fact checkers version of Joe Biden's town hall, or what the fact checker said about Joe Biden's town hall. Now, I wanted to use people who I was going to use people who oppose Joe Biden, but I thought instead of doing that today, we would look at the fact checkers of people who, let's see. How would I describe the fact checkers that I'm going to bring on. Well, these are the moisten the tongue so you can tongue bath the taint fact checkers. And any of you who miss me using that sort of verbal imagery in the past, welcome to the show. Anyway, the CNN had fact checkers watching the Joe Biden town hall. Now, what's interesting as you're watching the town hall, they didn't have fact checkers live fact checking Joe Biden. And Joe Biden did tell some other doozies that I'm sure we'll get to one of these days. But they didn't have the live. Remember, that during any time Trump was speaking, they would have a fact checker there live and doing all that shit. Well, they stopped doing that. Just kind of like the same way they got rid of the dead coronavirus people ticker that they had constantly running for the last year, or at least the last 6 months of Donald Trump's presidency, and then it miraculously disappeared starting on Inauguration Day, and now they never put it back up anymore. At least I haven't seen it lately. Of course, I don't spend a lot of time watching CNN. Anyway, so here is the CNN fact-checking Joe Biden CNN town hall by Holmes Librand and Tara Subramaniam. Okay, here we go. CNN hosted a drive-in town hall. Oh, I didn't know this was what? Oh, shoot. This is not this town hall. Never mind. Okay, never mind. I read the wrong one. Okay, fuck it. We're not doing that one. Let's just go on to some other stuff. So here's some other just wild news. So everyone remember the name John Sullivan? John Sullivan. John Sullivan. I want to be John Sullivan. Okay. What's that song? That's from what? I pulled that from some musical. Somebody's got to know what that is. Oh, that's from Bye Bye Birdie, the Ed Sullivan song. You ever heard that song? Who knows their why do I know musicals so well? Well, because I did Bye Bye Birdie in high school. And that was from the Ed Sullivan. Ed Sullivan. I want to be on Ed Sullivan. Anyway, this is John Sullivan. NBC paid left-wing Capitol rioter $35,000 each for footage of violence. Now, let's remember who John Sullivan is. John Sullivan is this little asshat that had, what was his thing called? He was at a Black Lives Matter protest talking about how they need to start becoming violent and shit. Well, he found himself at the Capitol on January 6th, and he kind of pretended that he was there to just film stuff, but then while he was filming stuff, he was saying shit like, burn this shit down, we took this shit, blah, 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 blah. I mean, he was egging on the rioters. In fact, what was that thing what they did the other day with the former president? You know who I'm talking about? But, Donald Trump, right? They had this whole big thingamajig where they all came in and said a bunch of stuff and then said whatever, and then they said he was not guilty. But, incitement. Incitement. That's what they were trying to get Donald Trump on, right? Yes, Jaden X. That's his Gaden Rex. Oh, my God. I didn't think that was funny, YouTube. That was not funny at all. Calling Jaden X Gaden Rex was not funny because I am inclusive and diverse and I'm a black guy, so I can't be racist. Anyway, John freaking Sullivan. He was the guy. He's the black man in Utah who likes to stir up some shit. They paid Antifa agitator at Capitol riots. Now we've got CNN and NBC paid John Earl Sullivan tens of thousands of dollars. I wonder if I can open that link too. We'll check that link too. Anyway, Politico. Thank you, Gamer Valine, with another 556. And that lady doing some shooting. I bet she's a good shot. Anyway, Gamer Valine says, through the donation via Streamlabs, oh, did they fact check him or jail time for illegal drug use? Oh, he wrote the 1994 crime bill. Oh, we aren't going to hear anything except fluff on that. Yeah, you know. Oh, you know what else he said during the town hall? Thank you for reminding me. He said something about how people shouldn't be put in jail because they use drugs. Like he was talking about they should come up with rehab programs. I got to tell you, and maybe this is what we're going to spend tomorrow doing, but they've done some shady shit already. And obviously we talk about this every day, but some of these executive orders and these just the different things they want to do with gun control and the healthcare shit. There was so much stuff to yap about on Twitter yesterday. I was getting a headache of deciding what I was going to talk about today, and and people talking stupid shit about what's going on in Texas with the electrical grid. Oh, it's just insanity. Anyway, let's get back to John Sullivan here though. This little maggot. I shouldn't call people names. I feel so bad. Oh, shared with you see and then highlighted it. How did I even get that notification? I'm supposed to be on. Oh, there we go. Okay, I'll check that. I'll find that, Gamer Vleen. So here we go. Politico reported Tuesday that a federal magistrate judge allowed Sullivan to keep his Twitter and Facebook accounts, but ordered him to end his involvement with a business he founded that the Justice Department says promotes and glorifies violent protest. Now, first of all, hi, Zombie Teddy. First of all, this little prick, the judge let him out of jail. And remember, he's on tape egging people on to do more stuff, telling him to destroy shit. But the judge let him keep his Facebook account and his Twitter accounts and just said, you know what, you have to end your involvement with that group that you founded. The defendant, John Sullivan of Utah, has maintained that he attends raucous demonstrations as a journalist. Look here, motherfucker. We have video of you leading a demonstration where you're telling people that it's time to start doing things more violently. This sentence is incredible. This is from Politico, of course. The defendant, John Sullivan of Utah, has maintained that he attends raucous demonstrations as a journalist, sharing videos through his Insurgents USA website and social media platforms. Sullivan's defense attorney even filed invoices with the court showing that CNN and NBC each paid Sullivan's firm $35,000 last month for the rights to video he filmed of chaotic scenes outside and inside the Capitol, including the deadly shooting of protester Ashley Babbitt by a U.S. Capitol police officer. Now, that doesn't mean he's a journalist. That just means he happened to have the footage. Those people saw the footage and they bought it from him. That happens all the time with people who are. If you happen to have video of a car crash, the media will buy the footage from you. Especially if you post it on Twitter, they'll be like, "Oh, can we use that footage?" Well, it's negotiable. You can't use it without my permission, or you could pay me for it, and you can have exclusive rights to it. That has nothing to do. God, is that how did the judge fall for that shit? That he's a journalist. He even got paid by CNN and NBC. There are probably thousands of just regular civilians who have video of extraordinary events that got paid for the footage. Anyway, however, prosecutors contend that Sullivan is not a mere bystander or chronicler of protests. Instead, they say he actively encourages violence, telling viewers how to make Molotov cocktails and evade identification by police. He was arrested last month on charges stemming from the January 6th riot, including interfering with police during a civil disorder. Sullivan was later hit with an additional charge, obstruction of Congress. Update: Sullivan was also reportedly paid by other networks, including $5,000 from Showtime's The Circus. As Breitbart noted in January, Sullivan founded Insurgents USA during the George Floyd riot last year. Sullivan claims to be a journalist merely documenting events, but he allegedly had no journalistic credentials, and evidence presented by federal prosecutors allegedly shows him joining in the violence and destruction. Twitter has apparently banned Sullivan's account, though it waited 2 weeks to do so. Well, they've got a lot more footage of this dickhead. In fact, let me, I think Gabriel Valide sent it to me. Give me a second here, and I will pull this down. By the way, real quick, thank you to the people who've been tweeting out the show. Johnny Bonsacco, Tyler F., Cynical Lindsay, Maddie, and I think that's everybody so far. So thank you for sharing the show. Real quick here, let's see. Let's get this. Thank you, Gamer Valine, for sending this to me. Let's see. Here it goes. Oh, this is the other. Oh, I see what you sent me here. This is what I was mentioning before. Joe Biden says he believes no one should be in prison for using an illegal drug. He suggested that funds be used for enforcement should instead be repurposed for rehabilitation. This is the guy who bragged about writing the 94 crime bill. Good for him. Good for him. That's quite a stray away from that 94 crime bill that you had brothers in jail for years for, 3 strikes and all that shit. Now, someone here just says in his reply, says, "First time I've disagreed with you, Mr. President, but I have to say that terrible crimes have been committed against innocent people by drug users in order to fund their habit. And I'm sure if they had wished to be rehabilitated, they would have done so by their own choice." Now, there are just innocent there are drug users who don't commit crimes and who've been arrested for drug use. But yes, it's there's a whole lot of stuff going on around drugs that create crime. So I don't know. I'm ambivalent towards what he said there. I'm just laughing that this is that's the MFer who wrote the 1994 crime bill and was very proud of it. In fact, he was talking about the predators just like Hillary Clinton was, although he did not say the words super predator like Hillary Clinton does, but he certainly called a certain segment of our society predators. Yes. And in fact, Gamer Verleen said, "Oh, really, CNN?" This is Gamer Verleen's response to that. "How does this fact check against the crime bill from when he was a senator?" That's a great question, Gamer Verleen. That is a very great and valid question. All right, let's move on here. Here's another article on this dickhead. So just in case you didn't get the point the first time, CNN, NBC paid Antifa agitator at Capitol riots. Now we've got receipts to prove it. So this is, let's see. Oh, this is Kyle Becker who wrote this. Non-exclusive license agreement. That's from, I can't read it because it won't expand. Let's see. Oh, CNN went beyond merely ignoring a BLM Antifa sympathizer's role in inciting the mob. The network invited him on as a mouthpiece. Oh, that's right. I forgot he was on Anderson Cooper. And it's so funny because they had him on not really knowing issues in Utah when he was talking about telling people to burn shit down. So a lot of people spoke about that. Non-exclusive agreement, licensor, John Sullivan. Let's see. Yeah, this is CNN's license. This is a copy of the ACH deposit from NBC. So he's been bragging about this. So here's this guy though. Here's what he was saying during this thing. CNN's Jade Sacker penetrating the Capitol with a member of BLM Antifa cheering, "We did it," and then asking her conspirator if he was filming. He said he'd delete it. He lied. CNN was in on it. So, listen to this.
I'll give you your hug now. We did it. You were right. We did it.
Dude, I was trying to tell you. I couldn't say much.
You were right.
You just have to watch my chat.
Gee, look at this insurgency, by the way. Look at this mass insurgency. All these people running around destroying the Capitol building. I mean, just look at the background here. Just watch what's going on in the background. Don't watch them and listen to them.
We did it. You were right.
Yes, there
Dude,
are thousands and thousands of people in that building. Can you see them all?
You were right.
Thousands. I mean, they are just there's a guy with a camera taking pictures.
Film you've ever made in your life.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
Wait, you weren't recording, were you?
I'll delete that shit. But I didn't record you or me. It's just voices.
Yeah, boy, that's quite the insurgency. Anyway, Politico report also highlighted the role Sullivan played in agitating the mob. In fact, let's see. Yeah, here it is. January 6th at the Capitol, John Sullivan from Antifa on camera saying we gotta burn this. This is it right here. Listen to this. Oh, hang a second. All right, here he is.
We gotta burn them. We gotta get this shit burned.
We gotta burn this. We gotta get this shit burned.
We gotta burn them. We gotta get this shit burned.
That's just it. Let's see if they have any more here. If you didn't have a chance to watch him, check out his own damning treasure trove of YouTube videos. Below are some select videos to watch. Sullivan was also on the wall. There's plenty of things suspect about this video as well, including evidence of coordinated tactics like passing up shields, water bottles, etc. If you haven't seen it, in this, okay, so if you go through my tabs later today, he has a bunch of his videos in here. Let's see how long these are. That's 2 minutes.
My face is spicy. Holy shit.
Too. I see guns and cannons and knives.
That's not a gun. That's a. Everybody push forward. Is that a gun? Rubber bullets. Oh, it's rubber bullets.
Yeah. Okay, so they're talking about getting hit by rubber bullets, but I don't see any guns. Do you see any guns?
I thought it was actual gunshots. I fucking got. Hey, yo. Fucking got one. Oh, yeah, dude. Oh.
Oh, I saw you get black person. Now, why are they climbing through the window if the door's open over there? Okay, let's find the one where he is. There's one where he is. Well, I'm not going to go into that. Anyway. In his video, Sullivan was heard after Babbitt was shot, yelling several times, "She's dead." KSL asked Sullivan after the incident if he was part of Antifa. This was his response. When he was asked if he was a member of Antifa, as he has used the hashtag in a social media post, he said he understands where there'd be confusion. If people are saying I'm Antifa as far as a terrorist organization, I'm not, he said. That's some weasel words. Am I anti-fascist? We are all anti-fascist, and that's what we should all strive for being. I have my own organizations, Insurgents USA, and that's what it's for. That's what it really is. And it just says the U.S. media has gone beyond refusing to ask critical questions about Sullivan due to his noticeable associations with the radical left. They literally paid a leftist agitator who had worked to frame Trump supporters for inciting insurrection and gave the criminal an open platform to spread his propaganda. This is what the U.S. media has come to in its open bid to destroy Donald Trump. So, yeah, probably should have saved that for FTG Thursday, but there you go. All right, let's see what else we got here. I'm gonna leave those tabs up from Twitter too, so you can do that because you can see that. But yeah, we gotta burn this. We gotta burn this shit. Get the fuck out of here. All right. Oh, one other thing in the town hall that I have out of order here that I meant to do before. Here, I'll put this over the Biden stuff. Biden made an interesting claim during the town hall that former military and police are fueling the growth of white supremacy groups. They are, oh, in the immortal words of General Honore, they are stuck on stupid. I gotta tell you, they are absolutely stuck on stupid. President Joe Biden stated during a CNN town hall on Tuesday that former military and former police officers were fueling the growth of white supremacy. Biden said, listen to this line too, because remember when Biden got involved in politics, and remember what his first decade in politics, you may not even know because it's been 40 something years, but his first decade in politics, just thinking about that, he had the balls to make this statement. And remember who some of his mentors were back then. Biden said, I got involved in politics to begin with because of civil rights and opposition to white supremacists, the Ku Klux Klan, and the most dangerous people in America continue to exist. No. In fact, he still considers Robert Byrd, former Ku Klux Klan member, as one of his mentors. And also remember, he got in politics in the 70s. Now remember, there's always talk about, the parties switched in the 1960s. Well, no, they didn't. Okay? All the segregationists pretty much were still in Congress well into the 70s. And all the southern states were still Democrat states in the 70s. Other than, I think Strom Thurmond was one of the very few that switched parties. Albert Gore Sr. didn't switch parties. Who else I'm thinking of? Robert Byrd didn't switch parties. Robert Byrd, who filibustered the 1964 Civil Rights Act, he didn't switch parties. The southern states all had Democratic governors well into the 80s and into the early 90s. They all had Democrat senators well into the 80s and into the early 90s. It wasn't until roughly the early 90s when the stronghold of Democrats in the southern states finally broke. And that was after Reagan, when everybody voted for Reagan. So there was Reagan had coattails like you wouldn't believe. But Biden says, I got involved in politics to begin with because of civil rights and opposition to white supremacists. No, you got into politics because you could, And because you even said, why would people even trust me as a politician? He said, but he said that that white supremacists, the Ku Klux Klan, and the most dangerous people in America continue to exist. That is the greatest threat of terror in America, domestic terror. Again, terrorism is using forms of violence to bring out a political end. So really, the people who are in the, let's say, the late night BLM protesters, because most BLM protesters aren't terrorists, but the late night ones are, the one that run around disturbing people at restaurants or whatever, that's a form of terrorism. Antifa, who, I know, it stands for anti-fascist. I know. Gosh, guys, they're anti-fascist, but they're terrorists. They use violence and destruction to intimidate people into their political will. They're terrorists, okay? I don't care if they're, oh, we're just anti-fascist, because that's what Antifa means. We're anti-fascist. Shut the fuck up. He said, so he continues, so I would make sure now this is interesting. So I'd make sure my Justice Department and the Civil Rights Division is focused heavily on those very folks. Oh, you mean that group of people that couldn't fill a football stadium? A small high school football stadium, probably? You know, like, again, we're in a country of, 330 million people? Even the Southern Poverty Law Center said there probably maybe a total of 10,000 members of white supremacist groups in this country. And they're fading fast, even though... Now, the Southern Poverty Law Center, of course, wants to make sure that you think they're everywhere so they can keep raising funds. And I'm not saying they're not out there, but they have zero power. And no, ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump doesn't empower the white supremacists. No, he doesn't. But he continues, I would make sure we focus on how to deal with the rise of white supremacy. You see what's happening, the studies that are beginning to be done. Really? Maybe at your university as well, about the impact of former military, former police officers on the growth of white supremacy in some of these groups. He added, you may remember one of my debates from the former president. I asked him to condemn the Proud Boys. He wouldn't do it. He said, they're quoting him verbatim, so it's hard to speak this way. He said, stand by, and stand ready, whatever the phrase exactly was. It is a bane of our existence. It has always been. As Lincoln said, we have you appear to a battle angels. These guys are not, and women, they in fact are demented. They are dangerous people. That's verbatim what they wrote, which they wrote what he said verbatim. And he has no idea who the Proud Boys are. And I don't necessarily want to defend the Proud Boys, but they never were and are not a white supremacy group. Honestly, if you know the history of the group, of the name, the Proud Boys, they got their name from a joke. They were started as a drinking club, and basically they grew to fight back against the people who were attacking Trump supporters. That's pretty much all they are. They're a group who fights the Antifa assholes. So they're just another group of assholes who like to fight another group of assholes, but at least they're out there to protect people from being attacked. Okay? Now, have some of them gone too far in some other things? Probably. But basically, it's not a group of white supremacists. Now, where that came from is when Gavin McInnes was starting the Proud Boys, he used the term Western chauvinist. And some reporter, a female reporter, was asking him questions about how you're male chauvinist. He said, no, that's not it. No, we're Western chauvinists, as in they think Western culture and Western values are superior to other cultures, or at least in the West. In the West, you're a Western chauvinist. You believe in how the West works. Okay? And but that's where they started getting, well, they're male chauvinists, and then they're white supremacists, and they're that. But the actual Proud Boys are probably as diverse as Antifa. So anyway, let's see. Let's hear him say it with his own words, so you can hear Mushmouth here. Unless it has an ad, I think it has an ad. Can I? Let's see. Oh yeah, it says it's loading the ad. We'll see how long the ad is. But you can listen to his mushmouth verbiage because he doesn't know what he's saying. He did memorize his lines as well in this one. And I'm pretty sure all the questions during the town hall were given to him prior to the town hall. And even the people who were reading the questions that were part of the audience, they didn't seem real confident in the questions they were asking, which means they were probably given questions to ask. And that's happened before. The best thing that happens sometimes during these town halls where they give you preloaded questions, so to speak, is the questioners sometimes say, the best questions are when the questioners say fucking ask a different question. And the producers usually aren't very happy with them when that happens. Let's see if I can make this work. No thanks, I don't want that. The hell is that? Oh, that's a game ad. I don't want that. It's 30 seconds long. Let's well, now I have to wait for it. So we'll see here. How much time do I got here? How am I doing? Oh, I'm okay. I got a few minutes left. I'll be all right. Is this going to work or not? What the hell is that? 5 seconds.
Capitol on January 6th, and on our democracy more broadly by your predecessor and his followers. While I appreciate efforts being made to bring them to justice, I worry about ongoing threats to our country from Americans who embrace white supremacy and conspiracies that align with it.
Here's the thing.
What can your...
The media has pushed this so much during the Trump presidency. And constantly asking him, well, do you denounce white supremacy? Which he's done 30 times at least that I can count on, as far as I've seen. But by saying it over and over and over, it's like what's that line about the big lie? Oh yeah, the big lie. Because you can't. If you can explain away the ascendancy of Trump by making it something nefarious and tying him to it, that puts it in everyone's mind. But it's insanity. And so anything that you don't like becomes white supremacy. I don't care about, look, I'm a black man. If I was really worried about white supremacy, I would let you know. Maybe am I crazy for not being worried about it? Because you know what? I don't have time for it. I'm trying to live my life. Anyway.
Your administration do to address this complex and wide-ranging problem?
Answer.
It's complex, it's wide-ranging, and it's real. I got involved.
And it's fabulous. Anyway. That's a little Sex of the City joke there.
In politics to begin with, because of civil rights and opposition to white supremacists, the Ku Klux Klan, and the most dangerous people in America.
Can you tell that he has this memorized? This is a canned speech he wrote. This is a question they gave him. They wanted someone to ask so he could give this speech. And he memorized it. but he didn't memorize it perfectly. Listen.
Continue to exist. That is the greatest threat to terror.
And that's not why he got into politics. No, it's not. That's bullshit. Sorry. You didn't march. He once claimed he marched in civil rights marches. That was another thing he lied about that people caught him on. Anyway.
In America, domestic terror. And so I would make sure that my Justice Department and the Civil Rights Division is focused heavily on those very folks. And I would make sure that we, in fact, focus on how to deal with the rise of white supremacy. And you see what's happening in the studies.
Oh, shit. All right. I'm not doing it. Somehow I got an ad. Okay.
That are beginning to be done, maybe at your university as well, about the impact of former military, former police.
What was he just looking at? Did he have a card there or something? What is this?
Your university as well, about the impact of former military, former police officers on the growth of white supremacy in some of these groups. You may remember in one of my debates with the former president, I asked him to condemn the Proud Boys. He wouldn't do it. He said, stand by, stand.
It's funny because they say this all the time, but they don't tell you who the Proud Boys are. There's a reason for that. They don't go into depth about the Proud Boys. They don't give you a history of the Proud Boys. In fact, I think the Southern Poverty Law Center at one point had them listed as a white supremacy group, and they had to remove that label. Oh, they had it with Gavin McGinnis, and they had to remove that label because, I think they sued them or something.
Ready, or whatever the phrase exactly was. It is a bane on our existence. It has always been, as Lincoln said, we have to appeal to our better angels, and these guys are not, and women are in fact demented. They are dangerous people.
Oh,
I want you to meet James
Wait
Lewis.
a minute. Demented? Oh, pot kettle. Anyway, all right. Let's go on to a couple other things, and then we're gonna call it a day. This is interesting that they're having these big problems down in Texas and in the South where they're getting these freezing temperatures, and they've never had to deal with this before. Texas, Louisiana, southern states. This winter storm, this frozen mess is basically covering the entire United States except for Florida, because my wife was just in Florida and she said it was still in the 60s and 70s in Florida, but the rest of the country is below zero temperatures. They never had to deal with this in Texas, and you never would expect to have to deal with this in Texas. Well, apparently Joe Biden hasn't spoken personally to the governors affected by these winter storms. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said Tuesday that although President Biden was monitoring states drastically affected by winter storms, he has not yet personally reached out to their governors. The president has been kept abreast, as I noted, of the events and provided regular updates on the storms and the progress, Psaki said during the White House press briefing Tuesday afternoon. Freezing temperatures have paralyzed power generation plants, leading to rolling blackouts across the south-central part of the country, leaving millions without power. Psaki informed the press that Biden's Homeland Security Advisor Liz Sherwood Randall spoke with Texas Governor Greg Abbott over the weekend when he called to ask Biden to declare a federal emergency for the state to trigger federal support for storm victims. Psaki said that Sherwood Randall also called other governors, Alabama Governor Kay Ivey, Louisiana Governor John Bell Edwards, Kansas Governor Laura Kelly, Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves, and Oklahoma Governor Keith Stitt. Now, that also is fascinating that Biden didn't make the calls himself. But there's a theme here, which we'll get to in a minute. Psaki she expressed the president's strong commitment to ensuring that the federal government proactively does everything it can to support state and local officials and preparing and responding to events that affect our citizens, Psaki said. And he did sign a declaration of state of emergency in Texas, where they're having the worst problems with the power grid because Texas has its own power grid. And no one ever thought to winterize the power grid in Texas, because when have they ever gotten weather like this? And there's a lot of people taking a big heaving dump on Texas and in the Twitter feeds and stuff like that. And but it's like this is like a natural disaster for Texas. It's not something that they've ever had to deal with before, and probably shouldn't have to ever deal with again. Although some people are saying, oh, like I think Beto O'Rourke said, we should have anticipated this. We've been telling you about this for years. No, you haven't. Not since the 70s have we ever had a warning on global cooling. Nah, haven't had it. Sorry. Shut the hell up. Beto. Or Beta. Who's a guy? Jesse Lee Peterson would say, Beta. Beta. Did I mention it's hump day? Now, but on that vein, Texas governor and House Speaker have called for emergency probe I just thought I'd let that hang there. Or not hanging there. They have called for an emergency probe of the failing power grid. Texas leaders are scrambling to find out why the state's power grid was ill-prepared to deal with electrical generation during this week's historic winter storm. Doesn't the answer to the question fall within the sentence I just read? Texas leaders are scrambling to find out why the state's power grid was ill-prepared to deal with electrical generation during this week's historical winter storm. The grid's energy production failures left millions without electricity, heat, and in some cases water. Texas Governor Abbott declared reform of the Energy Reliability Council of Texas to be an emergency item for the new session of the state legislature. The emergency item declaration allows the legislature to consider legislation to address the failures of ERCOT, which is the Energy Reliability Council of Texas, to prepare for the winter storm. Well, maybe because they don't have winter storms in Texas usually. Just a thought. I'm not mad at Greg Abbott, but everyone taking a dump on Texas about this should shut the fuck up. I finally swore. I've tried not to swear so much in my streams, but anyway. You know what? They're just trying to find somebody to blame. Who do we blame? Who to blame? Who to blame? I want to go back to the fact that the president hasn't called these governors, though, because there's another interesting phenomenon going on. And I don't have the article in front of me, but I can talk about it for a minute. So they mentioned in that CNN town hall that Joe Biden has talked to Xi Jinping since he's become president, and he's talked to Putin, but in fact, now he's been president since January 20th, and usually kind of the protocol thing when there's a new president is the president talks to multiple world leaders, right? They call him, he calls them, he takes calls from so-and-so and whatnot. And we mentioned yesterday that he didn't call Israel, our number one ally in the Middle East. He hasn't talked to Netanyahu. But there's another thing going on that's strange, is that President Biden isn't the one taking the calls from world leaders. Now, he may have talked to Xi Jinping himself. Hello, Francis Barrett. He may have talked to and Sapphire Dragon and Aaron Meredith. He's been taking the calls from, he took those calls, but apparently Kamala Harris is now the one corresponding with all the heads of state who call. And that's a really, really, really weird thing because from a diplomatic standpoint, if you want to talk, a leader of a country should talk to the leader of the country that they're corresponding with, which would be at the head diplomat of the United States of America. That is his role as the president of the United States. He should be one making and taking the calls or determining if they will take the calls or whatever. And apparently, Kamala Harris has been doing that. I don't know if it's because Joe Biden puts a lid on his day every day at noon so that, he can get his nap time in, and then mommy, Dr. Mrs. Biden can bring him some cookies in the afternoon, or they could go play some Mario Kart because that's been in the news. In fact, I talk about the taint tongue bath that the media has been giving him. Yeah, I saw a headline yesterday about him playing Mario Kart with his granddaughter, and I saw there's a People magazine cover with Joe and Jill Biden about their love, and it's been like, it's just the media love fest with Joe Biden is just nauseating. That's probably a good name for it. But anyway, yeah, that's a diplomatic faux pas. I got to tell you that they're having Kamala Harris talk to the other heads of state. She's not the head of state. And I wonder if some of these other countries are going to have a lot of confidence in the fact that they're not talking to Biden himself. It's just weird. Cameraman Jay, what's up? So I don't know. It's a weird phenomenon going on. And it's just not right. It's not how it's supposed to be. But anyway, all right, let me get to my last few articles and then we're going to get out of here. The Utah GOP has rejected a vote to censure Mitt Romney for his impeachment vote. Now, you might be surprised here as to my response from this. But let me just hear me out. I think the Utah GOP has done the right thing. Not that I support Romney's impeachment vote, but I don't think you should censure him for it. He made his choice and made his vote for whatever. But anyway, and I don't like the states that are doing that. They could have a stern talking to, but a censure is an official act about somebody. And I just don't think you should do that. I just think they should vote Romney out of office. But anyway, Utah Senator Mitt Romney was already in trouble with his state party for being one of only 7 Republicans to vote to convict Donald Trump in his impeachment trial. There has been a move afoot to censure the senator for his actions, and the effort is being endorsed from one end of the state to the other. Some local Republicans want Romney censured, claiming he failed to represent the average conservative Utah Republican voter and misrepresented himself as a Republican when he ran for office. It also claims Romney appears to be an agent for the establishment deep state. No argument there. But an effort has not been endorsed by the state. But that effort is not. Oh, I'm sorry. It also claims Romney appears. Okay. But that effort has not been endorsed by the state party. On Monday, they emphatically rejected any attempt to censure Romney, issuing a statement that said, in part, the differences between our own Utah Republicans showcase a diversity of thought, in contrast to the danger of a party fixated on unanimity of thought, the Utah party said. They were referring to Senator Mike Lee, who voted to acquit the former president. Evan McMullin. Evan McMullin, a former Republican who ran for president as an independent in 2016, said he was dumbfounded by the backlash against Romney from members of his own party. Well, I'm not surprised at that. I think they should be angry with him because I don't think his vote was constitutionally sound, nor was it legally sound if you look at precedents from the Supreme Court docket. But the idea of punishing him for voting his conscience just bothers me. You just instead make sure he is not in office the next time it's time to vote for a senator from your party or a senator nominee from your party. That's what you do. Yeah, McMuffin is still a guy. Yeah, I don't know where he's been. McMullen said Mitt has done more to defend the Constitution than any congressional Republican in modern history. He is serving the country and doing more to defend liberty than anyone else. We need to stand with him. That's the 3 strike you're out, Mr. McMullen. Anyway, he shouldn't be dumbfounded considering what's going on elsewhere in the country where GOP apostates are facing the wrath of a pro-Trump state party. The list of censure Republicans is growing quickly. McMullen, a frequent critic of Trump during his time in office, said Romney's courage should be celebrated, not condemned. You know, I'll give him this. I will give him that being willing to take the wrath for voting your own conscience. I respect that, even if I don't respect his vote. Okay, I think his vote is, again, constitutionally dubious and legally dubious at best. But I think punishing him from the party, unless, you know, now if there was a recall vote and they decide to recall his ass, okay, cool. If that's what your constituents do. But you know what? I just say make sure he doesn't get back into the Senate the next time he's up for a vote. So there you go. I've been saying the best censure occurs at the ballot box, said Derek Brown, chairman of the Utah State GOP. There you go. That's what I believe. But this isn't about censure. Rank and file Utah Republicans are acting instinctively. The drive to remove those who don't think like the majority is irresistible. The party is under unprecedented assault, not only from the left and the media, that's redundant, but from their own members as well. It's all well and good to talk about diversity of opinions when things are going reasonably well, but when it hits the fan, the instinct is to stand shoulder to shoulder to repel the attacks together. Weak links are not welcome and in this day, age, not tolerated. So they have more, but whatever. Did you see Trump's response to Turtle Bitch? I mean, McConnell. I will. I'm going to pull that one up tomorrow. I'm running out of time today, but yeah, I did see that, and I find it humorous. Lindsay, thank you. Let's see. Finished it up here. George Conway and Kurt Badella calling the Lincoln Project to shut down. It's over. Oh, George Conway, co-founder of the Never Trump Lincoln Project, and Kurt Badella, former senior advisor to the embattled organization, have publicly called to shut it down. 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 Because of the continued fallout over allegations of co-founder Weaver preying on young men, including minors, and subsequent reports that some of the Super PAC leaders knew the allegations as early as March 2020. Well, I think they should shut their asses down because they're all assholes and because they're grifters extraordinaire and they all made millions of dollars off this pile of bullshit. Anyway, yeah. If you really want to know, you can read that one. It's in the tabs. And finally, 75%, according to a poll, of Republicans want Trump to play a prominent role in the GOP. Okay. I guess I'm okay with that. Obviously, he won't be as boisterous and, well, I still think Trump should. I still think Trump should get on every single alternative social media site that he can that'll keep him. Maybe pick one or two to start. Gab, Parler, CloudHub, I don't know, one of the three. Because it'll immediately blow up that platform. As in make it big, not like Madonna blowing up the White House. Anyway, new Quinnipiac poll found that 75% of Republicans want former President Trump to play a prominent role in the Republican Party. The poll, released Monday, just 2 days after the Senate vote to acquit the former president, surveyed 1,056 adults, with only 21% of Republican respondents noting their desire for Trump not to play such an outsized role in the party moving forward. The poll was conducted between February 11th and 14th. On the day of love. As Trump impeachment trial was taking place, the survey shows Americans overall do not wish for Trump to play a prominent role in the GOP. Well, that's Americans overall. I don't give a fuck what Americans overall think. It's the GOP who decides who's prominent in the GOP by a margin of 60 to 34%, with Democrats overwhelmingly at 96% to 3, and independents 61-32. 87% of Republicans say the former president should be allowed to hold future office, with only 11% dissenting, while a majority of Americans, 55 to 43, say he should be barred from holding elective office again. Well, the only poll that really matters is the one that happens in November, the first Tuesday in 2024. So I guess we'll just wait and see what happens. And then finally, life in DeSantis' Florida. Time to travel, America, which my wife did this last weekend. Biden and Democrat governor's approach couldn't be more different than the one this Republican governor's taken. He's the one. Oh my God, there's some viewing pleasure for you. Sorry if that hurts your eyes. At the end of January. Okay, so. Right now, DeSantis is having a fight with the federal government. And I think he's kind of won this round because they were talking about doing travel restrictions, making people be tested, making people have vaccinations for them to be able to travel. And the Center for Disease Control has nixed that idea. And I think because DeSantis was bringing up constitutional issues about doing something like that, and also the fact that Florida is just one of those states that had more success with this, epidemic than others, with having their kids in school, having things open, and still protecting seniors, unlike they did in New York and Michigan. And so we'll see how this goes. One more for your viewing pleasure, and but that article will be in the tab. I'm sorry, guys. This is what's that? Rachel Levine. You know what? I got a question for you, and this is, and I maybe I heard this somewhere else, or maybe I thought of it myself. I don't know. Why do we know Rachel Levine? I mean, look, now I know she was the health secretary of the state of Pennsylvania or something like that, the director of health for the state of Pennsylvania. But she is not, what is her position here? She's like what do they make her in the Biden administration? She's like here's my question. She is the assistant secretary of something health in the United States, right? Do we know the name, or were there any announcements about any other associate or assistant director of any other department, deputy secretary of health? Okay, she's the deputy secretary of health. And they made an announcement. Joe Biden, when he was announcing different people he was appointing to cabinet positions, right? They made an announcement that Rachel Levine or whatever would be the deputy secretary of health, not the secretary of health. And in fact, does anybody know Biden's secretary of health's name? But it made an announcement about appointing Rachel Levine to be the deputy secretary of health. And in the immortal words of Robin Leach, or at least a parody of Robin Leach? I don't know why. Oh, wait. I know why. I know why. And you know why they did it. The only deputy secretary of all the cabinet positions that they made sure we knew their name. Diversity. Just so they can mark a checkbox. Yay. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, before you do anything at this moment, just while you are here, while you've got it stuck in your brain, not the picture of Rachel Levine, but while I have you here, before we go, I would like you to take a moment, warm your hands a little bit, because it's, especially if you're in Texas, warm your hands up just a little bit. Get the fingertip of your index finger just so warm and whatever. And take that index finger and whatever you use, whether it's your smartphone or whether it's your mouse or mouse pen or clicker or, stylus, whatever you use right now, take that warmed up finger, wrap it tightly around the instrument that you use or near the screen that you use, and poke a hole right in that like button. Just with that click and tingy bam thingy, right? I just want you to do that. That would make me so happy, just to know that you like me. You really like me. Or at least what we do here. Please hit the like button before you go. And then, if you're so inclined, even though the show is over, it would be so kind if you could, there's a right down there. There's an arrow. Oh, if it's on your smartphone though, it's right up there. There's a little arrow. Like if you touch the screen of your smartphone and that little arrow pops up, you touch that arrow. And it says to share the stream with somebody you know, somebody on your social media contacts or in your Facebook page or on your Twitter feed or whatever. There's a whole bunch of choices. In fact, when you hit to share, you have choices like Twitter, Facebook, email, Talk. I have no idea what Talk is. It looks like it's in a foreign language. I think it's a Korean social media. Reddit, which is something Russian. What else do they got here? They've got Pinterest. They have Tumblr, LinkedIn, Skyrock, Mix, Goo. I've never heard of Goo. Well, not that kind of Goo. But please, share the stream. And to those of you who've been able to make donations today or in the past, in the future, I salute you. For those of you who participate in the chat on the regular, or even if you're new, I salute you. And if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button and click the bell so that you get notifications, or you can follow me on multiple social media. These are a few listed here: Twitter, Minds, Gab, Parler. And if I ever get yeeted, just look for Dawg Knight. I'll be there somewhere. Okay, enough of this. Thank you for being here, but it is my time to go because I do other things in the afternoons. I will be making more videos. My series, what's my series called? I'm trying to be serious in this voice, and it's really hard to do. Proverbs for Modern Times. Go check out. I have 2 videos so far. We're going to be doing one of those a week, probably for the next couple of years, because people keep suggesting new proverbs, and so we'll be adding new proverbs weekly. Check out Proverbs for Modern Time. That's it for today, folks. People, I got to go. My name is Dawg Knight, and I'm out of here. Bye. Hey, this is Dawg Knight, and thank you for watching today on the Dawg Knight Channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comments section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterward so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through the Streamlabs link, which is also in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm Dawg Knight, and I'm out of here.